हूँ तेरी। तकदीर बदल जाए, मोहन तेरे चरणों की। जो धूल ही मिल जाए, सच कहता हूँ मेरी। तकदीर बदल जाए, मोहन तेरे चरणों की। सुनता हूँ कृपा तेरी, दिन रात बरसती है। सुनता हूँ कृपा तेरी, दिन रात बरसती है। एक बूंद जो मिल जाए, मन की कली खिल जाए। एक बूंद जो मिल जाए, मन की कली खिल जाए। मोहन तेरे चरणों की। जो धूल ही मिल जाए, मोहन तेरे चरणों की। यह मन बड़ा चंचल है, कैसे तेरा भजन करूं। यह मन बड़ा चंचल है, कैसे तेरा भजन करूं। जितना उसे समझाऊं, जितना उसे समझाऊं, उतना ही मचल जाए। मोहन तेरे चरणों की। जो धूल ही मिल जाए, सच कहता हूँ मेरी। तकदीर बदल जाए, मोहन इस जीवन की। बस एक तमन्ना है, मोहन इस जीवन की। बस एक तमन्ना है, तुम सामने हो मेरी। तुम सामने हो मेरे। और प्राण निकल जाए, मोहन तेरे चरणों के। जो धूल ही मिल जाए, सच कहता हूँ मेरी। तकदीर बदल जाए, राधे 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 राधे। 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 मोहन तेरे चरणों की। जो धूल ही मिल जाए, सच कहता हूँ मेरी। तकदीर बदल जाए। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय।
Rajesh, please start.
कस्तूरी तिलकं ललाट पटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम् नासाग्रे वरमौक्तिकं करतले वेणुकरे कङ्कणम् सर्वे हरिचन्दनं सुललितम् कंठे च मुक्तावली गोपास्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूरामणि वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Reading from Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran. We have covered the first three cantos and the Bhagwat Mahatamya, and we are into the fourth canto. Mahatamya had 6 chapters which talked about the glories of the highest Vedic scripture, Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran. And first canto had 19 chapters. And we learned about the origin of Bhagwat Mahapuran, the story of Parikshit Maharaj, the advent of Kali Yuga, etc. In the second canto, we learned about the Virat Swarup of the Lord, the subtle form, different questions of Parikshit Maharaj, the description about the creation, the different topics of Bhagavad in the 10 chapters. In the third canto, we started to get into the lineage of Manuji Maharaj. And we read about Manuji's daughter Devhuti, who is married to Kardam Rishi, and who is married to Kardam Rishi, and they have a child called Kapil Dev, who is the avatar of God. So Kapil Dev Maharaj speaks to his mother, Kapil Devji speaks to his mother, Devhuti, and so much of the knowledge is shared in that conversation, including the evolution of the child in the womb of the mother. So that was very fascinating that Bhagwat Mahapuran, which was written by Veda Vyas about 5,200 years ago, describes how the union of the mother and father results in the formation of the fetus and how it grows over the 9 months. How on the very first day it is in a very tiny form called kalal, and then it becomes a bubble in a few more days, and then it acquires the shape of a pea, that is the matar, in 10 days, and how every month it grows, and how fascinating that this complex structure of the body is formed within the mother's womb. That is described so graphically in that conversation. Anyway, our topic today is the fourth canto. So let us recall that in the fourth canto, we begin with the recap of the lineage of Manuji, and the daughters of Manuji are mentioned, Devhuti, Prasuti and Akuti. and the two sons Uttanpad and Priyavrat. So as we know, once Brahmaji is created in the kalp, emanating from the lotus, coming from the navel of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, from his mind, different personalities are born. So they are all called Manas Putra. At that time, this man, woman, the birth, the union is not there. That begins when Brahmaji sits in the meditation and Manu and Shatrupa are born. And then the biological reproductive creation begins, which is called Mathuni Shrishti. And also Kamdev is brought into the picture to bring the attraction between man and woman. Otherwise, the creation will not grow. So we learned this fascinating story about how this universe has been created. And it's such a sigh of relief for us because we were being told that we grew from monkeys, and Darwin's evolution theory and the Big Bang theory, all these were being spoken about, which did not make any sense. And also we learned that the creation is eternal. It is not that Bhagwat Mahapuran, which was written 5,200 years ago, is the first Bhagwat Mahapuran. No, Bhagwat Mahapuran is eternal, not millions or billions or trillions of years. It is infinite. There is no beginning, there will be no end. It is always there. It is reproduced in Kali Yuga through the written words, because in Kali Yuga, our mind becomes very dull, our memory becomes very weak, our fortune is much lesser, and we are always agitated. This is what we learned in the second chapter of the first canto. When Sut Goswami is telling, when Shaunakadik rishis are telling Suta Goswami, Prayena alpayusa sabya kalavasmin yuge janaha manda sumandamatiyo mandbhagya upadbritaha. In other ages, the lifespan is much longer. We live for 10,000 years, 1 lakh years, 1 million years. But in Kali Yuga, our lifespan has reduced to only 100 years. And the mind has become dull, the memory has become weak. So the Lord takes the form of Veda Vyas. He is the literary avatar of the Lord. And then along with the assistance of Sri Ganesh, he writes the Vedas and also the Puranas, and Bhagwat Mahapuran is one of them. So this is the background we should remember, so that there is no confusion about how this tradition is evolving. And we have also learned that we are not confined to the Earth planet, the earthly planet and the 7 continents on the Earth. It is much larger. We learned about Jambudvip, we learned about Sumeru Parvat, we learned about different islands. We learned about the 7 lokas on the top and the 7 lokas on the bottom. So 14 lokas are there, and they are all hundreds of thousands of miles apart. So it is so huge. The diameter of our Brahmand universe is 4 billion miles. So we can imagine 4 billion miles means 40 crore miles. That means 64 crore kilometers. We just cannot imagine, because on the earthly planet, we move from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and that may be only 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers. So now we are talking about 64 crore kilometers. That is the extent of our Brahmand. And this Brahmand is only one of the universes. There are millions of other universes like that. And this is all the material world, which is only 3/4. Another, which is only 1/4. The 3/4 is the Paravyom, is the spiritual sky, in which there are infinite number of universes of the divine. And in the Paravyom, in the spiritual sky, there is no material contamination. That means there is no Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Moh, Matsar, Rag, Dvesh. No attachment, greed, lust, anger, etc. It is a place, the Maya is not there. The material energy doesn't act. And that lok we cannot even understand at all. We can only have a glimpse of it through the reading from Bhagwat Mahapuran when Brahmaji describes the Vaikuntha Lok when he visits Sri Vishnu. So this knowledge we should keep in mind, and then we will relish the stories of Bhagwat Mahapuran in great detail, because we will be able to relate, okay, we are talking about this kalp, we are talking about this lok, we are talking about such a long time frame. So now we recall what we studied in the last session. We studied a very important story called Puranjanopakhayan, which is the story of King Puranjan. Now, to understand this spiritual science, we must understand our body. That, is very important, because we are told the body hosts the soul. So what is the body, soul, mind mechanism is very beautifully described in this story called the story of Puranjan. We all know that our body is made up of gross body, subtle body, and the causal body. We have three bodies: Asthul Sharir, Sukshma Sharir, and Karan Sharir. What is the meaning of Asthul Sharir or gross body? Gross body is the body which we can feel, we can touch. That is made up of these bones and the muscles and the skin, etc. So what are the 5 elements which build the gross body? Sky, space, air, fire, water, and earth. These are the 5 constituents of the gross body. Then what is the subtle body? Subtle body means mind. It is there. We all know. We say, hey, please mind your business, right? So the mind is an entity, but it is not gross. It is subtle. So mind is a subtle entity. Similarly, intellect, because mind is what you tend to think and do, and intellect is the governing faculty. So mind, intellect, ego, we have the feeling that I have my own existence. The same myself who was there in London, now I'm in Delhi, that, that I-ness, the feeling of being, the identity is called ego. So ego, intellect, mind. 5, pran. We have the life air. The life air is the one which is sustaining us. Pran, apan, udan, vyan, saman. Then we have the karmendriya, the working senses. Speech, movement, reproductive, excretory, and digestive. These are the 5 karmendriya. We do all our actions with these senses. And the 5 knowledge senses, jnanendriya. Smelling, seeing, touching, from the 5 the body components we have. So 5 karmendriya, 5 jnanendriya, 5 pran, man, buddhi, ahankar, these constitute the subtle body. And the causal body is the Karan Sharir, which is the repository of all our previous karma. Every time we took human form, we did infinite karma. All that stock is there in our Karan Sharir. Until we have burned this stock of karma, we will remain bound in the material world. So upon God realization, when we surrender completely to God, these karmas are burnt completely, and then we go into the spiritual world by crossing the river Birja, where Maya is dropping everything Maic, and then all our senses, etc., become divine when we go into the spiritual world. So Bhakti Marg is not like merging into God and becoming the light or the energy. Bhakti Marg is still maintaining our identity as a servitor of the Lord, so that we can enjoy the bliss. We don't become the bliss. To enjoy the bliss, Bhakti Marg is the right and the only way. So this is the difference between Gyan Marg and the moksha, which sometimes we get confused. So different types of moksha are also there. Sayujya Mukti, Salokya Mukti, Sarupya Mukti, Sarishti Mukti. These are the different types of mukti. But a devotee is not bothered about mukti or bhukti. He relishes doing bhakti and then everything automatically happens. This is the beauty of Bhakti Marg, that when we do bhakti, everything happens automatically. Our panch kosh is burnt, our panch klesh, the 5 causes of suffering, they are burnt. Our 3 dos is burnt, 3 karm is burnt, 3 gun is burnt. So everything material is burnt and we become completely divine entity. We still maintain our individuality and we are in the company of the Supreme, where there is only bliss and growing bliss. That is the reason everyone is wanting to get into the bhakti marg, those who have understood the concept and they are so much relishing the bhakti marg. That is why we are all assembling and reading from Bhagwat Mahapuran or Bhagavad Gita or Ramayana, which are teaching us how to become a bhakt. So the story of Puranjan is a beautiful way to understand how the different elements of the body, mind, soul mechanism are interacting. So Puranjan is the king. Puranjan is representing the soul. So Puranjan has a friend called Avigyat, who is actually the super soul Paramatma who is seated in our heart. So ideally what we should do, we should always be talking to the Paramatma in our heart secretly and telling and realizing the presence of God within us. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am there in your heart. So we should feel the presence of Krishna. And Krishna says that keep Guru always, because I come through Guru. So we should always keep Guru and Krishna in our heart. Or when you say Krishna, you can call Radha Krishna or whichever form you worship. So God and Guru, Hari Guru is always there in the heart. That is the realization of the Bhakt. So what we should do, we should listen to the call of God. God is telling so many things through different Granth and different Mahapurush and Gurus. So we should listen to him. But what happens? We don't listen to God, we listen to our mind and intellect. That is the story of Puranjan. So Puranjan is the person, soul, who is not listening to Avigyat, his friend, who is the Paramatma. He leaves Avigyat and he wanders into the place, the country. And there he goes into a city, which is a city of 9 gates. So this city of 9 gates is our body. 7 gates upper part and 2 gates lower part. And then in this country, Puranjan meets a beautiful woman. Her name is Puranjani. She is the intellect. And Puranjani is guarded by a serpent with 5 hoods. That serpent is the pran, the life air. And there are 5 types, pran, apan, udan, vyan, saman. So those 5 hoods represent the 5 pran. And Puranjani is also accompanied by 10 servants, which are the 10 senses. And each servant has 100 wives, which are the sense objects. So we understood Puranjan, Avigyat, Puranjani, 10 servants, and the sense objects. Let us see the next slide. Now, that gatekeeper serpent with 5 hoods is the 5 pran I just mentioned. The 11th warrior is the mind, the controller of 10 senses. And that there is a country called Panchal Des that represents the 5 Tanmatras in which the city of 9 gates is situated. So this city is in a country called Panchal. So what are these 5 Tanmatras? Touch, smell, taste, etc. Form. So that is there in the country everywhere. So that is the representation through the country called Panchal. And now we come across another personality called Chandaveg. So what happened was Puranjan became so attached with Puranjini. She is so beautiful. She has so many different qualities. And now he is completely mired in the Girhastha. He is a father of many children and grandchildren. So a grandfather of many grandchildren, and his Girhasti continues and his attachment keeps growing because of the growing family. So much so that when Puranjani is dancing, Puranjan also dances. Puranjani is laughing, Puranjan also laughs. Puranjani is crying, Puranjan also cries. His attachment is limitless. But he doesn't realize that there is a factor called Kal, which is going to finish everything. That Kal, time factor, is represented by Chandaveg, who is the king of Gandharvas. And the time is called the Samvatsa. Now, Chandaveg is accompanied by 360 Gandharvas and their wives, the Gandharvis. So these 360 Gandharvas represent 360 days and 360 Gandharvis represent 360 nights. So these days and nights constitute the Kal, which is acting on us. We were children, now we have become adults, and now we have become old, and one day we will be gone. Our body will be gone. So that is what happens when we are in this material, in the material sense. And now let us go into the next slide, where we learn about Kal Kanya. And which is Kal Kanya? Kal Kanya is death, which happens to everyone. And that is the exit of the soul from the body. But when the soul goes out, it goes with the subtle body and the causal body, and it will take up another body, which is being built in the mother's womb in a different place. And how the end comes through the miseries of the mind and the bodily diseases, which are called Adi and Vyadhi. And also the fever comes along, and that fever is called Prajwar. So all these constitute the story of Puranjan, which is so very fascinating. So let us see the next slide. Okay. So today, let us just confine ourselves to these four chapters, these four topics. One is how King Prachin Barhi received knowledge from sage Narad. So let us recall that the son of Uttanpad is Dhrub. We have learnt Dhrub's mother is Suniti, and Dhrub's stepmother is Suruchi, whose son is Uttam. But Dhruv is denied the seat on his father's lap and is insulted by his stepmother. That is why he has become so angry, and he has gone into the forest and he meets Naradji. He tells him to do tapasya, and then the Lord visits him and gives him all the boons. And then Dhrupji is asked by the Lord to rule the kingdom for a long time, for the entire Kalp, if I remember correctly. So that is why we have Dhrup Tara. That is the place where Dhrupji resides, and he is ruling the entire kingdom. So that Dhrup Tara we also learned is the focal point for all the moving constellations and the stars and the sun and the moon. So Dhrupji lineage is described, and in that lineage we come across a king called Ang, and his son is King Vain. But Vain was an impious king. He was very much against the sages. He would torment them, and he had created a reign of terror for everyone. So the sages decided to finish him, and he is killed because his presence was becoming so painful for everyone. But again, for the lineage to continue, his body was preserved by his mother. And from his body, uh, the Lord Prithu emerged by the churning of the upper part of the body. Now, Lord Prithu is God himself. He is an avatar. And we also learned the story that King Prithu was very much in favor of serving the community, serving the citizens. So when he saw that the earth is not producing necessary grains and fruits and vegetables and medicines, he became angry and he wanted to kill the Mother Earth, who is in the form of the cow. So Mother Earth ran for her life, but how long she could run, she couldn't bear the wrath of King Prithu. So she surrendered and she said, "Oh King, please don't kill me. Please listen to my words." And then when King Prithu listened to the pleas of Mother Earth, he realized that she was made to suffer so much by the unrighteous people, and that is why she is unable to produce the grains and the medicines and the fruits and the vegetables, and the cows are unable to produce the milk, etc. The mines are unable to produce the gems and gold and silver, etc. So now it was decided, milk the cow. So the Mother Earth was in the form of the cow. She was milked and everything was restored. All this we have already learned. So we will not devote a long time in this. So then we go to what we learned, that Prithu Maharaj flattened the land and he made the land more habitable, and then finally he departed. But he is also the father of a son called Prachin Barhi. Now, Prachin Barhi was a very great king, but he was a Karm Kandi. He did not know about Bhakti, which he admitted later to Naradji. And out of his ignorance, he just kept indulging in the Karm Kand. And Karm Kand means you bring all the ingredients, you call Pandit Ji and you chant mantras without really understanding what is the purpose of the Karm Kand. And this is what all of us have been doing. And so we are very particular about all the ritualistic performances. And Pandit Ji also doesn't know his true position, or even if he knows, he is unable to share that, because in Kali Yuga, the money becomes so important. So Pandit Ji, when we call him home, he recites a prayer. He recites a mantra from Padma Puran, which says, "Apavitro pavitro va sarva asthan gatopi va yashmaret punrikaksha sabahya abhyantar shuchi." Pandit Ji is saying this in all Satyanarayan Katha Puja and every puja, that whether the place is apavitra, impure, or pavitra, pure, if you remember Punrikaksha, the Lord, that remembrance is so pious that everything becomes pure, both inside and outside. Pandit Ji is himself telling that the Bhakti Marg is so important, but he is indulging in all the Karm Kand rituals, and we think that is more important. This was the mindset of Prachin Barhi also. And in the process, in those days, they would do the animal sacrifices. And this was really a serious problem, which Naradji pointed out. You are doing this karma kand and you think you are doing great, but you are incurring karma which will, come back to you. It will backfire. And he showed all those animals which he had sacrificed. They were so angry and they were waiting for him to come to them after death, and they will take the revenge. So Prachin Barhi understood now, and with the help of Naradji, he also attained his pious shelter. And his sons are called Prachetas or Prachet. They are 10 in numbers, and they are brothers, the 10 Pracheta brothers. They are very, very cultured and well brought up children, whom Prachin Barhi would like to get them married, but they also have to go and do tapasya. So they embark on the journey. And when they are going into the tapasya place in the samudra, in the ocean, they are met by Lord Shiv. And Lord Shiv, he narrates the Rudra Geet. So if you have the link in the link you can just click. If you have the link, or no, this is not that. So if you can go to Google and say Rudra Geet, you can display that. So while you do that, I will just say the background. So Rudra Geet is the preaching by Lord Shiv to Prachet. Lord Shiva is saying to Pracheta that I know who you are. You are the sons of Prachin Barhi. You all are going for 10,000 years of meditation, and it is so good. You should do that. But let me tell you what is the purpose of your austerities and all the knowledge Lord Shiv provides in this Rudra Geet, which has beautiful verses. And yeah, this not the YouTube. You have to go to the text. So you go to the main text. These are all YouTube. So you scroll down and you go into the
That lyrics.
Rudra Geet PDF. Maybe that could be the one. Yeah. Yes. Click that. Rudra Geet, the Hare Krishna movement. So this is the Rudra Geet. This is exactly what I was looking for. So let us go to the shlok. It starts with the shlok number 33, the chapter number 24. So no, the one which you are displaying. Okay. So just now you were displaying from the Google. And yeah. So we can just read, and I can also read from my text. Yes. So just go down a bit. Click. Just scroll down. Yeah. So scroll down further. No, click more. You will get. Yeah. So this is the Rudra Geet. So if you see the shlok number 33. Shri Rudra Uvacha Jitam ta Atma Vidyam Swastyaye Swasti Rastu Me Bhavatarad Sarvasma Atmane Nama. Lord Shiv addressed the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the following prayer: O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all glories unto you. You are the most exalted of all self-realized souls, since you are always auspicious for the self-realized. I wish that you be auspicious for me. You are worshipable by virtue of the all-perfect instructions you give. And you are the super soul. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you as the supreme living being. Then you go to 34, which says, Namah Pankajanaabhaya Bhuta Sukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Shantaya Kutasthaya Swarochi से आप पद्मनाभ हैं, भूत सूक्ष्म और इंद्रियों के नियंता, शांत एकरस और स्वयं प्रकाश वासुदेव भी आप ही हैं, आपको नमस्कार है. So here you will see that the four Chaturvyu elements have been described. Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Anirudh. So we were always wondering, what are these four personalities? So these four personalities represent these four subtle elements. Sankarshan represents the Ahankar. Pradyumna represents the mind. Aniruddha represents the Buddhi, and Vasudev represents uh, the the intellect, the chitta. So it is captured in this Rudra Gita. Now, because we have shortage of time, let's go to 57. So 57 is about the importance of satsang. So in the verse 57, the Lord Shiv is saying, Chanardhenapi tuleyena, Chanardhenapi tuleyena, Swargam na punarbhavam, Bhagvat sangi sasangasya, Martayanam kimutashisha. It says, ऐसे भगवान के प्रेमी भक्तों को यदि आधे क्षण के लिए भी समागम हो जाए तो उसके सामने में स्वर्ग और मोक्ष को कुछ नहीं समझता, फिर मर्त्य लोक के तुच्छ भोगों की तो बात ही क्या है. द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ सत्संग. वन क्षण इज ओनली 1.6 seconds. Here Bhagwat is saying, even if you have an association of 0.8 second with a pure devotee, it is such a magical event in our life. So the heavenly planets or the liberation is not at all comparable. This is exactly what Tulsidas ji said. एक घड़ी आधी घड़ी आधी में पुनियाद तुलसी संगत साधु की कटे कोटि अपराध. जय जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम 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 सिया राम जय जय राम जय जय राम. So this is a beautiful knowledge about the importance of satsang. That is shloka number 57. Now let us do just a few more. 61, 62. So 61 is the four-lined shlok in the Rudra Gita, which says, Yo mayayedam pururupya srijad bibharti bhuya chapayatya vikriyah yadveda buddhi sadivatma dusthaya tatma matantram bhagavan pratimahi. It says, भगवान आपकी माया अनेक प्रकार के रूप धारण करती है, इसी के द्वारा आप इस प्रकार जगत की रचना, पालन और संहार करते हैं जैसे यह कोई सद वस्तु हो, किंतु इससे आप में किसी प्रकार का विकार नहीं आता. माया के कारण दूसरे लोगों में ही भेद बुद्धि उत्पन्न होती है. आप परमात्मा पर वह अपना प्रभाव डालने में असमर्थ होती है. आपको तो हम परम स्वतंत्र ही समझते हैं. What I am trying to say is that this Rudra Gita is very special. We can close this and go back to the slides. Rudra Gita is very special. Anybody who is attempting to genuinely love Rudra Gita and listening to it and sharing the knowledge is a very special person in the eyes of the Lord. The Falashruti of listening to Rudra Gita is, Bhagwat says, यद्यपि भगवान की आराधना बहुत कठिन है, किंतु मेरे कहे हुए इस स्तोत्र का जो श्रद्धा पूर्वक पाठ करेगा वह सुगमता से उनकी प्रसन्नता प्राप्त कर लेगा. जो पुरुष उषा काल में उठकर इसे श्रद्धा पूर्वक हाथ जोड़कर सुनता या सुनाता है वह सब प्रकार के कर्म बंधनों से मुक्त हो जाता है. This is what Bhagwat is saying in shlok number 76 and 78, that devotion to the Lord is very difficult because we are so much caught into the Maya that we never have time for spiritual practices. Even if we do the spiritual practices, we are not concentrating fully. Our surrender is not complete. So that way the Aradhana, the worship is so difficult. But if somebody is reading Rudra Gita, attempting to read in the morning hours, very soon all his karma bandhan will be cut. He will become the most special devotee and his attachments to the karma will all be removed. So because we have very little time now, so very quickly I will just say what I wanted to say from the chapter of Prachetas. Etat padam taj gadatmanah param sukrid vibhatam savitur yatha prabha yatha savo jagriti supta shaktiyo द्रव्य क्रिया ज्ञान विदा भ्रमात्यय. वस्तुतः यह विश्वात्मा श्री भगवान का वह शास्त्र प्रसिद्ध सर्वोपाधारित स्वरूपी है. So you all can read in Hindi. I will translate in English. So here the knowledge is being imparted to the Pracheta, that how the creation takes place, and the waves of the rays of the sun are not different. Similarly, this world that we see, it is an energy of God. It is also not different from God. Then another example is given, that the sky, the badal, the cloud, and the darkness and light, these are all appearing in the sky, and they again vanish into the sky. But the sky is not affected by that. Similarly, the Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic, the gunas are creating this entire material world, but the Parabrahm, the Supreme Lord, remains unaffected. So very beautiful examples are given, and it says about the reasons why the universe was created. So it says that time factor, the Kal, is the Nimit, and the material creation is the Upadan. Like you need the material to build this universe, so that is called Upadan Karan, and the Kal, the time, is called the Nimit Karan. So a little technical, but we should read and understand. Let's go to the next shlok. Next slide. So here, now who is narrating all this story? Maitreya is narrating this whole story to Vidurji, and that story is quoted by Shukdev ji, who is narrating the story of Parikshit Maharaj. And in that story, this Prachin Barhi's Katha and Pracheta's Katha is coming up. So Prachetas, once again, let us remember, they are the sons of Prachin Barhi. And when they were meditating in the water, they were also visited by Lord Vishnu in 8-handed form. And he came along with Garurji, and he imparted the knowledge. And he also told them, after you finish your meditation, you should come out and you should get married to a girl called Marisha. And with Marisha, will be married to all 10 of you. There will be a son called Daksh, and that Daksh will be the cause for the propagation of the population. So this is the same Daksh Prajapati whom we have known in the other story. So he was reborn in this Manvantar. So that is the story of Pracheta. And when they came out of the meditation, they saw that the earth has been completely covered by the trees. So they became angry and they started burning the trees. But they were stopped. And then Marisha was brought before them, that this is our gift, please marry her. And they got married to Marisha, who is the daughter of Kandu Rishi and the Pramlocha Apsara. Now, when a Rishi is doing meditation, Indra gets very much affected, and he fears that he will lose his position. This is the position of Swargalok also. Although Indra is the king of the Devatas, but he is also having Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Moh, Matsar. These defects are there in the heavenly planets also, because this is the material creation itself. It is not the spiritual sky. So when he gets fearful, he sends Apsaras to disturb the sages. So he had sent this Apsara called Pramlocha, and Kandu Rishi and Pramlocha, they have the child called Marish, but Pramlocha returned. So Marisha has to be brought up, So the trees and the moon, they help to bring up Marisha. So that is the story. So here Maitreya ji is concluding the narration, and Vidurji is having tears in his eyes, and he's so happy, and he touches the feet of Maitreya ji, and he returns. He wants to go and meet his brother Dhritarashtra and tell him to understand his position and leave the attachment of the kingdom and go into the forest. So the last sentence is the Falashruti. श्री सुखदेव जी कहते हैं मैत्रेय जी को उपरयुक्त कृतज्ञता सूचक वचन कहकर तथा प्रणाम कर विदुर जी ने उनसे आज्ञा ली और फिर शांतचित होकर हस्तिनापुर चले गए. So, O king, whichever person will listen to the stories of these great surrendered kings like King Prithu and King Ang and King Dhrub, whoever listens to these stories and whoever shares these stories with anyone else, he will obtain long age, wealth, fame. All chem means God will provide whatever the person doesn't have. Sadgati, at the end of the life, the journey will be the pious and auspicious, and he will get all Ashwarya, opulences. This is the Falashruti of listening to this Bhagwat Katha. Now let us see the last slide. In the last slide, I have just wanted to say that when Narad ji is narrating their stories to Pracheta, he is giving a beautiful words that in this material world, which life, which karma, which age, which mind, which word is the glorious? Only those who are engaged in the service of Sri Hari. So all this is described. Let us share it with the audience so that they can read it at leisure. Because time is short, I would like now to hand over to Sri Vikas ji, and for some question answer, some introductions or whatever else.
Yeah, so I would request everyone who want to ask question or anything.
You can raise your hands if you wish to participate and express your feedback, your comments, and any doubts we can try to clear. We can begin with Smita ji.
Smita ji or Sheila ji?
But yeah, it's been a very wonderful session, really good, loads to learn. And yes, I'll look up the Rudra Geet myself on YouTube. Thank you once again. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Smita ji, any question?
नमस्ते भैया. मैं भी भैया ने जैसा बताया, ये रुद्र गीत वाला जो प्रसंग है वो भी मैं पहले पढ़ना चाहूंगी. सारा कुछ उसमें, सारा मूल उसमें शायद निहित है. तो एक बार मैं उसको पढ़ने के बाद फिर भैया से जो भी मेरी शंकाएं होंगी उनका समाधान पूछूंगी. फिलहाल के लिए सबको बहुत बहुत प्रणाम. राधे राधे.
राधे राधे.
Sandeep.
आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for this beautiful Bhagwat Katha. Every time when I listen, I learn something. Try to understand. That's all.
थोड़ा माइक में बोलिए.
Is this audible now? Hello?
Now audible.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for this beautiful Katha. Every day I'm learning something new.
Thank you very much.
Hema ji.
Radhe Radhe. Rudra Geet is so beautiful, so mesmerizing. If I've been reading a few couplets here and there, but I'm gonna put that extra effort and read it in the correct sequence. at the right time of the day to get better absorption. I'm going to try. It is very, very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Aradhya, you have any question?
Where's she gone now? Subtle body, causal body.
Possible if you can tell me
Maybe she
something.
got the explanation.
Aradhya, your voice.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so Radhe Radhe everyone, I have a question. Can you tell me something about Prachin Bharati?
Prachin Barhi.
Yeah.
Prachin Barhi is the son of Prithu Maharaj. You understood the lineage? Brahmaji, his son Manu, and Manu's son is Uttanpad. Uttanpad's son is Dhruv. So in that lineage, after a few births, like sons, his son, his son, his son, one of the son in the lineage is Prachin Barhi. Sorry, one of the son is Prithu. And Prithu is God himself. He has taken the birth from the churning of his father called Vain. So yeah, so Dhruv Maharaj, then Ang, then Vain, then Prithu, and Prithu's son is Prachin Barhi. So Prachin Barhi was not doing bhakti, he was doing karm kand. So we can ask why in the Vedas there is so much about karm kand. Why Vedas are telling, do puja in this manner, put a tilak and put a shikha and bring, aam ka patta, the mango leaves, etc. So that is for the first stage, because not everybody will immediately go to bhakti. So that is why this karm kand has been created in the Vedas, so that at least by some engagement, people can come toward their spiritual science. So that is the little information about Prachin Barhi. Any specific question?
Is it true that Prachin Bharati had 10 sons?
Yeah, so his 10 sons are Pracheta. I just mentioned those 10 sons, Prachetas, are his sons. True.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aradhya. Anjan Bhaiya. You are in mute.
Yeah, Radha Radha Bhaiya, wonderful session again today. And yeah, thank you so much for your seva.
Yeah, I think we are on the time. Thank you, Rajesh ji, for the wonderful session. And it's like listening all the story from Bhagavatam. Yeah, it's very amazing. So with this, we will conclude this session.
Just give a few seconds to Surinder Bhaiya. You forgot Vendi ji and Surinder ji, so but Vendi ji has left.
Okay.
And so Surinder Bhaiya can just say a few words and then.
Thank you, Bhaiya ji. It is extremely good to dive into Bhagavatam, and so deep it is, and very good. We are very, very thankful for your time, what you are giving from your all busy schedule, which all of us, we got family, work, all that, but you are dedicated onto that.
Thank you very much. Actually, I'm equally thankful to you because I'm getting an opportunity. All of us are busy. You all are equally busy. So we should continue with the same zeal and enthusiasm. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar
Ki jai, jai, jai Sri Radhe, jai, jai Sri Radhe, jai, jai Sri Radhe.
Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Thank you, Vikashji and Anjan.
Radha Radha.